All set? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Town of Pownell Selectboard Meeting, December 14th, 2023 at 6:01 PM. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Board member roll call.
Angie Rawling.
Brian Harris.
Jamie Percy.
Mike Gardner. Everyone please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect, thank you. That on there off the table. Just back over here. Approval of the agenda, public comment, approval of minutes, warrants, correspondence, excess weight permits, updates from town officials, errors and omissions with Nemrick contracted assessor and assessor clerk, Pownell Conservation Commission mission statement discussion, personnel policy holiday pay discussion continued, social service ballot article appropriation requirement policy discussion, budget initial discussion, ballot article initial discussion, public comment, executive personnel, and adjourn.
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Here, do we have any public comment? No public comment? Perfect. Approval of minutes on November 30th, 2023 select board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, corrections, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Minutes of November 16th, 2023 public hearing.
So moved.
Second it.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Warrants, accounts payable, December 8th, $45,841.57.
Second it.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Accounts payable, December 15th, $31,310.80.
So move.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Payroll, December 8th, 2023, $11,228.70.
So moved.
Second it.
Any questions? Comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Payroll, December 15th, 2023, $10,727.10.
So move.
Seconded.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any correspondence there?
Not today.
Any excess weight permits?
Nope.
Updates from town officials?
I have one from Darcy.
Nice.
So this is from Darcy at our wastewater treatment facility. So, and it's a pretty good report again, so bear with me if I mispronounce words. I've begun working on the FY25 budget. There have been some interest in sewer decommissions and new connections for the spring season. Joel informed me that the town had secured a new diesel fuel supplier. The new representative came to the wastewater treatment facility for an on-site visit in order to record the location of our generators, main and potable. The new SCADA computer system has been installed and is up and running. The new alarm system software is much more sophisticated, improving redundancy within the system. The backup system is in place and there have been no issues to date. We have been working on completing state-approved wastewater correspondence courses, which are required for license renewals. The latest course, which was free, provided some very helpful data regarding weather resiliency and some critical contact information for Green Mountain Power. 6, we have continued to monitor the new water system being installed at Pownell Estates Mobile Home Park to ensure the wastewater system is not affected. A potential water leak due to previous digging located near PV1 access gate had created a very large area of ponding and was directly affecting our access to the pump station. The health officer gathered the appropriate information from Joel and myself and contacted the park owners in order to correct the problem. And I will say Sam was, really great at working with the park owners, reaching out to us and, you know, it was kind of her first experience that I've seen her on, and she did a great job facilitating that communication.
Good.
We had to relocate one of the homes cleanouts in Pownell Estate Mobile Home Park. Tie drawings have been updated. We had to revisit pump station PC3 and resurface on site the existing suction valve and pump number 1. Both pump check valves were cleaned as well. We have been able to save money on electricity at the pump stations this year by taking advantage of the warmer weather and setting the station heaters to maintain lower temperatures. All scheduled maintenance activities are being performed and the work orders are up to date.
Very nice.
Good report. Thank you, Darcy.
And that's all I have for updates from town officials.
Okay, update from the zoning administrator. We have started the process, for a fine on somebody who's in violation. And we brought it to the sheriff's department. We worked on the proper paperwork, the proper procedure, wrote a ticket through the judicial bureau, through our policy now. I handed the ticket off to, the Bennington County Sheriff's Department. And I am not positive, I have not heard whether the ticket has been served at this time or not. I know that was, I know they were gonna, make a phone call and deliver the ticket. So that was I think it was last Friday, when we wrote the ticket on Wednesday, I believe, last week. And the sheriff, they were down some guys because of, some health issues, some sickness going around. And I did make contact with, one of them on Friday. So that's been delivered. Where it's at, I don't really know, but it's kind of out of our hands now. And that's it from the zoning, other than, I don't even have any new permits going out, really, a couple minor stuff, nothing major. Okay. Errors and omissions with NEMRIC contracted assessor and assessor clerk.
And they are both on Zoom, I believe.
Basically that document needs to be approved by the select board. It's just a couple errors that happened through the the fiscal year 2023. One of them's a property that had a homestead declaration with some business use. The business use was put on the property, but it was put into the wrong field on the CAMA software. Corrected the error and sent out new tax bill. I don't remember what the other one was, but there was no value change on that second one. The first one I spoke of was only a $200 value change. And it's something that has to be approved every year before December 31st.
Yep.
And these are, just so everyone's clear, Jacob, these are just mistakes basically that are made throughout the year, on the assessments and that kind of stuff, correct?
Yeah, they could be mistakes. Sometimes things come through like the homestead declaration late, after the April 1st deadline. And homesteads roll throughout the year all the way up until I think even last week we still got one homestead. So things change just through homestead declarations. I don't remember what that first one was exactly, but again, I think it might even just have been like a name change on the grand list. That paperwork you have in your hand should say what that first one was.
Yep.
Yep, yeah, it does, and that's fine. I just want people to understand and be clear of what the errors and omissions, what it actually is. I don't think we need to go into details of what these are.
Okay.
You know, like you said, one is a $200 difference and the other is a $0 difference. So it's not a huge issue because, But I just want our residents and taxpayers to totally understand what that is in case they didn't. So
Definitely.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody have any questions for Jacob or Wendy on the errors and omissions?
No, it seems pretty clear.
Pretty clear to me. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept the number, changes.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Yep. Please sign and I'll bring it back to her.
The Conservation Commission mission statement discussion. We have a copy of the, do we want to go down, how do we want to do this, guys? And girls. Ladies.
You can call me Guy, I don't care.
I know that.
It's all good.
I know, I'm trying to be politically correct here. I don't do well at that sometimes, and I'm trying. Do we want to get down through each one of the, on the Vermont statutes and discuss each one? Or how would you guys like to do that?
So out of the statute, I picked a few things that I would like to see involved in our mission statement.
So you want to get down through each one? Then
It's totally up to you, but
let's do it that way. Let's get down through each one and, discuss each one and you either go with it or don't. How's that? Is that all right, Tara? Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's, makes it easier for me because then I can just,
Right, then you can
On
just
here.
make your notes on your, you have a copy right there, right?
yep.
Okay, of course you do, you made me a copy, which I appreciate. So I'm not gonna get into the 24 VSA and all that stuff, powers and duties. Any conservation commission, now, before we even get started on this, we don't have to follow every single one of these statutes that are on here, okay? We can pick and choose and my opinion is to go, usually I'm big to go home. But my opinion on this is to start out a little bit slow in this formation because we can always add easier than we can subtract duties and powers. That's my opinion.
I just make one statement before we get.
Absolutely, Jamie.
Because, just to follow up on what you just stated, is fine, we don't have to follow, because in state statutes, anybody that actually reads these and whatnot, they know there's the word shall and may. And under this particular one, it says any conservation commission created under this chapter may follow the following procedures. So therefore, the municipality can choose, just so there's clarity out there in case there's people that are in question. So, thank you.
Anybody else have any comments before we start? Okay, so any conservation commission created under this chapter may, your point, Jamie. One, make an inventory and conduct continuing studies of the natural resources of the municipality, including air, surface and groundwater and pollution thereof, soils and their capabilities, mineral and other earth resources, streams, lakes, ponds, wetlands and floodplains, unique or fragile biologic sites, scenic and recreational resources, plant and animal life, especially the rare and endangered species, prime agricultural and forest land and other open lands. Now I like the way it starts out. My feeling is that I'd like to see D in there at this time.
You want to keep D?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
just want to make sure I
Yep,
understood. correctly.
okay, sorry, Brian.
Yeah,
Thank you for,
I'm in agreement with that.
What did Bob want out of those ones? Were his opinions?
Yeah, where's his? I didn't see his.
yeah, I'll read his.
It's highlighted. I know it's hard to.
Yeah, I can tell. It looks like D on Bob's as well. Streams, lakes, ponds, wetlands, and floodplains.
And then F, I think, right?
Yep.
On Bob's.
Looks like H is highlighted,
Oh, okay.
right? Is that, would you agree with that?
Yep, H, D and H.
Okay. Those were
He wants D and H or did he say E?
D and H.
Okay.
Is what Bob's looking for.
I know,
What's that, Jamie?
I wanted F in there, scenic and recreational resources.
I like the F because if we're gonna be building trail systems, we
Right.
need to
We
know
need to
where
have
the
that.
scenic and recreation,
Yeah.
where the best locations for things and things like that.
yep,
Yeah, I'm okay. I would like to see it, some kind of caveat with that it's working in conjunction with Parks and Rec though.
Yeah.
somehow.
Yep,
yes,
Make sure, I would just like it, like stated in there that, working with.
yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Everybody else in agreement with that?
Yep.
Right? I'll go with that. But how do we, I think we should add that. I like Brian's point where, the Parks and Rec work, so scenic and recreational resources, somewhere we need to put in there that, working in conjunction with Parks and Rec.
Yes.
Yeah, because I just don't want to see potentially in the future, two different commissions butting heads.
Exactly.
Because they get into, pardon my French, a pissing match over who's in charge of what.
right. I'd rather have people work together, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, right now it wouldn't be an issue, but
Yeah, I think, I look at it more as like the Conservation Commission is like the planner that says, oh, it would work really good here. And then maybe Parks and Rec is like, does the implementation of it. It helps with the building the trails and that stuff. Something.
I was thinking more like, if Parks and Rec's like, hey, we would like to put a small boat launch here. And the Conservation Commission's like, no.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see your point. Yep.
Is that it under one? I think we're good, right?
So one, just to make sure I know, one, D, F, and H.
Yeah, and
Yes.
F has, we have to put the addendum in.
And Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, yeah. Oh, some wording in there along there. Perfect.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what that wording is.
May add G, but that would,
Oh,
as far as with the library and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I just think it's,
I just think I think we start out,
yeah,
like I said, I'm a bigger go home guy, but I think this way here, we're,
definitely.
Start small, keep it fairly simple
and
and
see how things go, and then we certainly can add.
add or subtract as needed.
Yeah, subtraction's a much more difficult process, I think, than addition. Two, make and maintain an inventory of lands within the municipality which have historical, educational, cultural, scientific, architectural, or archaeological values in which the public has an interest. What's the board's pleasure on that one?
I'd say keep it there.
Yes, I say, I have that on my list.
It may not be an initial goal, but at least it's there for them to, if somebody brings it to their attention, they can focus on something.
And just for for everyone's information, Bob, agrees with that one too. So we're gonna keep two, Tara?
Yeah,
Three, recommend to the legislative body of the municipality the purchase or the receipt of gifts of land or rights thereto or other property for the purposes of this chapter.
so that could mean access and whatnot.
I think that would mean like if somebody is, like, say they pass and they bequeath a piece of property, it would have to come, I would think it would have to come through the Conservation Commission at that point.
Right. Or like if, say you want to allow access, a foot trail across your property to a piece of town property.
Or how about when we were approached by I can't remember exactly who it was, but the piece of land over here on Center Street.
Yeah. Any viable.
I guess I don't have a problem recommending, if they recommend to the legislative body.
Just because they recommend doesn't mean we have to.
Exactly, I just don't wanna, I just wanna make sure we don't have any obligation, that we would have to purchase or acquire or whatever, just because someone recommended to us,
recommendation.
which is, I guess, we don't anyways.
No, it's just recommendation.
So I guess we can leave three.
Okay.
Receive appropriations for operating expenses, including clerical help by appropriation through the budget of the legislative body.
I was okay with skipping that,
Without skipping it?
yeah,
Me too.
because I was gonna do, the one where you receive money and gifts.
Well, it's kind of different, but
That's something, yeah, totally different.
totally different.
I think number 4 would be if they get so busy, they end up needing to hire somebody for like taking minutes, helping with the office paperwork side of it. And I would think if we get to that point, that's gonna be a larger role as opposed to just one sub-commission.
Right,
I agree. So I think we can strike 4 for now.
yep.
I think that's the same.
Everybody agree with that? Agree with Jane?
Yeah.
And, let me
I
just
think
check.
that's all the same way.
And Bob apologized. He couldn't be here tonight. He had a family commitment. So therefore, he sent this, and I'm just making sure that his voice is heard here.
Yep.
And he didn't.
I think at this point, number 5 is the same as number 4 for present.
So 5 is receive money, grants, or private gifts from any source for the purposes of this chapter. Grants and gifts received by the trustee of public funds shall be carried in a conservation fund for year to year, to be expended only for purposes of this chapter. I don't like that, the way that's worded, to be honest with you.
Yeah, same here.
I have a problem with yes, grants, I don't have a problem with grants.
Right, no, right.
To a certain degree, because we can say, okay, yes, apply for a grant, or the legislative body can,
Yes.
or whatever, right? We accept or we don't.
Right.
Yeah,
I have a problem with the private gifts, from any source, for the purposes of this chapter. The private part
I mean,
worries me.
I know we accept donations for specific projects. So I guess that would be, like if, say at the point where we're gonna make the trail system with the platforms, if people wanna donate toward the platform or something like that, that's a specific. But this here, I think right now, we're getting the cart before the horse.
I agree. So do we want to strike 5 for now?
I would say yes.
Because honestly, Brian, back to your Parks and Rec.
Right.
If we're applying for grants, our Parks and Rec is already able to do that and already does that.
Yeah.
And then they should be.
They already have budget items and
They should be
line
working
items
in
already
conjunction with each other
created.
anyway.
Yeah,
So we're gonna strike 5?
Yep,
Okay.
okay with that.
because we're gonna be working cohesively.
Yeah,
Right.
there's no need to create multiple different budget line items.
Right.
That just makes a bigger accounting nightmare later.
And like I said, we always can add and we can change and whatever else. And Bob doesn't have that one either, so. Receive gifts of land or other property for the purposes of this chapter by consent of the legislative body or by the affirmative vote of the municipality.
I don't like the way that's worded because it makes it seem like if they receive a gift of land, it belongs to the commission and not to the town. Like they're the sole proprietors of that piece of property.
Good job.
Good point.
Good job.
I mean, that may not be, I'm sure that's not the intention of it, but to me, when I read that, that was my first thought. I'm like, oh, so, I gift a piece of land to the Conservation Commission, they're the only ones that have say over it, like the legislative body can't say, hey, let's incorporate that with this trail network.
Well, it does say by consent of the legislative body or affirmative.
Right, but it also says for the purposes of this chapter.
Correct.
Not for the benefit of the town,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
I think that one needs to be rewritten if we're gonna approve that one.
So,
Or do we just,
I would like, I'd say get rid of it, because I'd say any piece of property that the town is absorbing for whatever reason comes before the legislative body, period.
Right.
yeah, and we choose to bring.
They can bring a recommendation, and I would leave it at that.
Yep.
okay,
Then we can bring it to the voters when,
Yeah.
if and when needed.
right. 7, administer the lands, properties and other rights which have been acquired by the municipality for the purposes of this chapter.
I think Bob.
Basically what-
That one,
Yep, I'm on that one.
and that, I feel like that is something they would be doing.
Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of the purpose of the Conservation Commission, right?
Yep.
Kind of what you're looking for them to do anyway, right? Okay, everybody in agreement with that one?
Keep 7?
Yep.
yep,
Assist the local planning commission or zoning board of adjustment or the district environmental commission by providing advisory environmental evaluations where pertinent to applications made to those bodies for permits for development. I think that's just, to me, that's just another
that's a duplicate.
duplicate where we already have the planning commission, we have the DRB, we have the BCRC.
And that's not to say that the planning commission might not reach out to them if they had a specific question, but I don't think it necessarily has to be listed in there.
Perfect. Strike 8 then, everyone's good?
Yep.
You're awful quiet, Ange.
No,
I'm a little nervous.
no, I have all my stuff.
I'm just looking at you.
Speed writing
I'm just,
List.
I have a list. I came prepared.
And
9, cooperate with the local legislative body, planning commission, zoning board, adjustment, road committee, or other municipal or private organizations on matters affecting the local environment or the natural resources of the municipality.
I'd be a yes.
I think that should just be happening,
That's just a.
period,
So just
anyways.
It's a given.
It's a given.
That it says cooperate with, it's the wording of this one is weird too.
That's why I'm reading the wording, because it confuses me a tick here.
I don't like it.
Well, I'm taking cooperate, they're being an active resource if needed,
And working with.
right?
Right.
The other-
I guess they can reach out to them, right, if they need to.
Yeah.
Well, the part of that I cooperate with and then, municipal or private organizations. So,
Maybe the private part.
Would be the person that owns the land that wants to,
Yes, road committee. On matters,
that's how I kind of took it, but maybe I'm wrong.
well, would a private organization be a company that we may be hiring, like what we do with the PFOA testing?
Yeah.
That's how I'm looking at that, but
Well, I'm looking at it as and that's, so I look at it as, company that's, or individual that's trying to come in and do some sort of a business or something along those lines. So,
yeah, there's two sides.
see, I was going a different way with it. I was thinking cooperate with a private organization. I'm thinking in my mind something like a group that's anti-hunting who wants to have all hunting barred from all public lands.
Yeah,
The way that's written, cooperate with mean, I would take that as like they have to cooperate with that group.
it's a good point.
that's a good banner, so.
Maybe not, and that's just how at first thought, that's how I'm taking it.
Well, mass for other,
I almost think we could strike 9 because honestly, at this point, because basically what we're trying to do right now is to have them
Administer the land.
administer our land that we
The
just
agreements
purchased
that we
and
do.
whatever, and we can always add something
Yeah.
like that one afterwards.
Because if any private group wants to come in and
or we
That-
could,
that's-
make any changes, they should be coming before the legislative board.
or we could
or
just
going
cut
to
it
the
out.
Yeah, and then we could direct the Conservation Commission or Parks and Rec or whichever group to work with said group.
And
Or just admit the word private for this time being.
Yep.
Bob doesn't like 9 either, so
Yep.
I think we're in agreement about 9, we're gonna strike that one. Prepare, collect, publish, advertise, and distribute relevant books, maps, and other documents, and maintain communication with similar organizations, and encourage through educational activities the public understanding of local natural resources and conservation needs.
I'm okay with that in principle, but my question would be, what resources are they collecting and publishing? And would we require them to get prior approval before they publish something? And under what budget item? Like, where would they get the financing for that? Like, I'm okay with information going out, like that kind of stuff, but I would like to see at least a review from the administrative side.
Before something.
You could say like with prior
I was gonna say with prior
approval or
approval.
authorization from the select board.
He's happy matches up, I always stop him down at the
National Forest Ranger Station. Whatever area.
Well, yeah, but this is different. This is gonna have all your local stuff on here and
Right.
and then the way I look at this, it's gonna be, if I were on the Conservation Commission and I look at that number 10, and that's part of our mission.
Right.
Is we're gonna do our local natural resources, like the Weeping Rocks, for instance, just off the top of my head, right?
Right, trail system.
You know, your trail systems or whatever that are local here, so.
Yep.
I think that's fine as long as we
Add
add in
with
there
prior.
with prior approval from the legislative body.
Yep.
Okay. Make a brief annual report to the municipality of its finances and transactions for the year just passed and its plans and prospects for the ensuing year. Added 1977, number 250, blah, blah, blah.
I don't think that's necessary if you're not giving them a budget
Right.
and
That's
money.
right. I think that's,
I mean, we can ask them for a report to go in the town report like we do every other board.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be specifically a financial report.
exactly. I think it would, I think a report to go into town report is a great idea.
Yep.
You know, but I don't think we need a report of their finances and transactions because we're not giving them any money. And let's see, sorry, I didn't even check with Bob on Bob's on his last two, and he's good with not having those.
I would just like to add something to 11, maybe, that we could, maybe some kind of wording that as far as an annual report or reports as requested by select board. Like if we would like an update from them, if we haven't heard anything, like, hey, what are you guys up to?
Which way?
Give us an update, please.
So should we reword that totally and just say, because I don't think the finances and transactions should be in there, but just make a brief annual report to the municipality.
Well, I was
Period.
thinking like how we've started asking department heads to start giving us like more than just a once a year update, like start giving us like monthly or quarterly updates.
So I'll say make a brief annual report to the municipality or whenever requested, I'll find better language than that. Obviously.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like,
Like, I'm not looking to put it on a set time schedule, but, you know, if they're really busy, I would like more updates than less.
Yeah.
If they're not doing anything, if nothing's going on and it's idle, then obviously, if you have nothing to report, you have nothing to report.
They may have a project or something they want to work on, focus on.
This sloped floor over here is driving me nuts.
The what?
The sloped floor, every time I pick my feet up, the chair starts rolling, so now I just turn this way
Mine goes
at my
that way.
feet.
Mine goes backwards.
Ooh, come on now.
So I'm gonna say make a brief report to the municipality on an annual basis or whenever requested.
I think we're good on the mission statement. Now we can write that,
Yep.
right? And then bring it back for approval, and then we can send our,
So I think what we did was you were gonna approve it today. Cause we basically know what's on it now.
okay,
So we'll approve it today so that I can publicize it. And then we're gonna set the deadline 2 days for people to submit their letters of interest 2 days before the next meeting. So the next meeting's the 28th, which makes the cutoff like the 26th.
okay. That work?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Everyone's happy with the mission statement that we just came up with?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. We know what we want to put into it and I'm fine with approving it.
Okay,
That was Angie, that was the schedule we laid out in that meeting before.
I was
That's-
just
that's
trying
all.
to remind myself of the date,
Yeah,
sorry.
December.
December, not January.
Yeah.
Okay.
so do we need a motion to approve this mission statement? Or are we good with, well, we probably should.
I said we just make the motion, just to be.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we approve, the mission statement for the Conservation Commission as we've stated and reviewed.
Second.
In open session on December 14th.
Yes, with, as noted by Mike.
Perfect.
Seconded.
Any more discussion? And you're totally, it was pretty clear what we were, it was pretty easy, really, right? Good. Trying to make it easy.
She's happy we made a decision and didn't table it.
That's right. Me too. If there's no more discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we need to do a separate motion to authorize Tara to post it?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
It's already been posted,
Yeah.
but we just wanted to get a deadline and then the specific duties and responsibilities and.
Okay.
Okay, moving right along.
There we are.
Personnel policy holiday pay discussion continued.
So at the last meeting, I brought the holiday discussion for our part-time employees, and we talked about the difference between, some are on call, some are not. And we really only have 4 part-time employees. One at the wastewater treatment facility, 2 at the transfer station, and then 1 here. So in looking at it, it doesn't make sense to say only the ones that get called in get a holiday pay. It's just not fair. And Angie had a great suggestion of maybe we try just 4 hours for all part-time on a holiday and 8 hours for all full-time, even if you don't normally work that day, to make it most fair. So I reached out to VLCT and I asked them about the language, and they said they suggest using that it makes it more uniform and more fair. And that we might want to put in something about proportion of full-time, so like, say, Jeff works 20 hours and Tom works 30, but we don't really have that much of a difference. As far as hours, most of our part-time people are between 20 and 30.
4 to 30, really.
Yeah, so it seems fair to me to put, just like I said, the language of all part-time employees will receive 4 hours holiday pay, all full-time receive 8 hours, whether they normally work that day or not.
And are we gonna do all the holidays? Or are we gonna just do certain major ones?
Be the same holidays.
I would say all the holidays that are listed in the personnel policy
Okay.
already.
Otherwise, that would be too confusing trying to.
Yeah, and I know, I'm sure really, I think Tom and Ron are really gonna be appreciative of it also, because I think they've gotten like 1 holiday since I've been here, because it happened to fall on that day, so.
And they do work all year long.
Yeah.
And they, work for the town, and even though it's part-time,
And I wish I'd come up with this idea earlier, but I came up with it tonight when I was working outside of my house. The only thing that I thought about, Tara, was for some of our other, so part-time employees. We could also put in their job description that they don't qualify, I think. So
Don't qualify ever?
for holiday, and I'm not talking about Tom and Ron and Jeff and the ones we're discussing now.
Like per diem part-time.
Per diem part-time, exactly.
Oh, like Leonard. Yes, we will have to put language in there that says per diem it doesn't apply to.
Right,
Or temporary and per diem it does not apply to.
right. I think we can change those job descriptions. Just put an addendum in there and having them sign that addendum so that we don't run into, I know that was in our discussion last time. We were worried about that part.
It could
Yeah.
just be an amendment right under the holiday piece in our policy.
Yeah, and then I'll
That'd be
resend
the
it.
easiest.
Well,
Resend
but
it.
I also think, Jamie, that definitely put it there, but I think if you put it on that job description, then we don't get into that.
Make sure it's stated in all job
Then
descriptions.
it's clear. No, that's fine too.
Then
I'm
it's
just,
crystal clear, right?
It covers us from somebody trying to get creative.
And take us to court again?
So I did say it doesn't apply to per diem and temp. With that said,
right.
Paul works all summer long and is often paid for holidays but he's a temp. So that's sort of up to you guys to decide should that continue or not.
He is paid for holidays?
He has been paid for holidays, yes. Cause that's sort of on the department head and, yeah. But if I put it in the personnel policy that temp can't be paid, then he will no longer be paid for that. So maybe I just
I
say
didn't realize he was a
per
time.
diem.
Yeah.
Well, he does work 40 hours a week all summer long though.
Right.
Guess he would be seasonal.
Right?
Yep.
Yes, that
But
is,
then we have we have some plow people who are seasonal too, right?
right.
So you gotta be careful with that one. I would go with the per diem. I think the per diem thing
It just
is,
doesn't apply to per diem.
yeah.
Okay. I'll make those changes and then I'll bring it back, but if you wouldn't mind approving me paying them for the holidays that happened in November. If you're gonna allow me to go backwards, if not, we'll do it from here on out. I'm not sure how you wanna do that either.
What's the board's pleasure?
I'm okay with going retroactive back to the Thanksgiving holiday, but no farther.
Well, I think you're looking,
Because this was brought up before Thanksgiving.
and I think you're looking for Veterans Day.
It was Veterans Day where the discussion started, yeah.
Well, yeah, we did, all right.
Go from November 1st.
Yeah, for November 1st, from when it was first brought up.
November 1st, 2023.
Yep. Need a motion?
Yes, please.
Make a motion to retroact as of November 1st, or holiday power changes
As stated.
as stated.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Social service ballot article appropriation requirement policy discussion.
Okay, so as you all know right now, once an agency collects their signatures of 5% of the voters, they don't have to do it again. They just do it the one time. And then what they send me is just a request. It's just a simple form that I send them. It says how much they are asking for this year, how much they asked for last year. And it asks for just a brief description of what they do with their funds. And then at the same time, I ask them for a letter for the town report. There's been a lot of questions over whether we should change that policy or not. There's been, the suggestion that we require the Form 990. And I'm just kind of looking for board thoughts and opinions on the policy as it is and possible suggestions for next year. I will say many of them sent me the Form 990s because I did ask for them this year. I told them they weren't required. So many people did send them, but some people don't have them. Some people don't file taxes at all. Some don't have to file that form for whatever reason. So that's just something to keep in mind.
We can review their statement, I thought.
Like, you can review the Form 990. It is public information, yes. But some, and I don't know why, because I'm not great with the tax.
What I'm wondering.
What did you say?
I'm wondering how they can admit having to do that.
I don't know. I don't know all the laws.
Procedures to be an LLC or.
Right. Well, it's all IRS stuff and I don't understand it.
I guess here's my gut feeling is, because we're under the wire this year for it.
Well, we can't do anything this year. It's our.
Oh, I understand that.
It's too long.
I think moving forward, my opinion is we make, we
Require 9.
require that form.
I agree.
And I think we require them to get the appropriate signatures to be placed on the ballot.
Right.
Instead of that, I know this has been, I know these ballot articles have been a discussion topic for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
And I think it's our due diligence to let our taxpayers know that we're at least.
It's not an insignificant amount that's being asked for.
That's right, it's grown to, it was almost $300,000.
Yeah, what is it like?
I just signed it 2 weeks ago. I think it was $291,000.
It's like 8% of our budget, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was $291,000 that I just signed.
Well, the pie chart, I think, shows.
Right.
Yeah. But
So
Big chunk.
it is a significant amount of money at this point, and I believe that we should, as a responsible legislative body for this town, make sure that our taxpayer dollars are going. And I'm not accusing anybody of not using the money for what they're saying for. I just think it's our duty to say, yes, we did this, we know where your money's going.
Right.
We do it everywhere else. We do it to Joel, we do it to Darcy, we do it to Tom. Right? We do it to everybody else.
Right.
Leonard, all of them, except for our ballot articles, and it is like 8% or something like that of our budget. So I think that moving forward for the next fiscal year, that we require that form. I think we require them to get their, and this is just, we'll have to write a new policy for this. We require them to get their signatures.
Yep.
However many it is,
Petition.
every year moving forward until the next legislative body changes it or whatever.
Yep.
Do we need anything else in there, Tara? Is there anything else?
Well, I need to know if they don't have a Form 990. So for example, Pownell Youth Baseball, I don't know that they file like that.
We don't.
They might, but I don't think they do. So what happens in an instant like that when they don't have it?
We are not.
Don't file it.
We've been pushing it. But it's, I'm not sure what's going on with it. Our
Pownell
treasurer.
Banking Seniors is another one. They don't file taxes.
Okay.
Is there an equivalent?
I mean, I guess
And I don't
I
know.
mean, we're happy to provide all our financial statements.
I know that.
maybe like a really detailed budget statement or something.
Yeah,
Because
that probably would work.
and then we also need to decide what we're doing with the information. You know, is it all just gonna go sit in a folder? Are we going to analyze it, distribute it? Is it just gonna be board information? You know, what are we doing with the?
We gotta find out.
They're like pretty
I
informative.
I think at that point,
Info on it.
I
I think it's public
I think it's public information anyway.
Yeah,
That's all I just wanted to.
So I think we just have it filed here somewhere, even if it's electronically.
So if taxpayers wanted to come view it, they could. We could have a link online. They could view it there.
That's right. If I want to come in
Okay.
and find out where and I'm gonna use you, the probability.
That's fine. I'm in full favor of this and I.
know you are. No, but I think that's-
Baseball too, so.
Right.
I'm still in full favor of this.
Right, and I just think that, I just think I think as a board, we're doing our due diligence by saying, okay, we know where your money's going.
Yep,
Right? We know where your money's going and we can show you.
yep. And I think
Where your
more
money's going.
transparency is better.
Yep.
We can show you where your tax dollars are going.
There's a few taxpayers out there that have
I'm
asked.
really concerned. I did hear a lot of concerns of like, well, what if, if it says we have so much in savings, like people need to understand, for example, like the fire department, they may have some in savings because they're trying to have a building fund.
That or endowment.
So, some people were concerned that it would be misinterpreted, the data that's on them, but I don't know that there's anything we can really do about
I
that.
don't think anybody.
I know.
Right, and I don't think anybody's trying to hide a single thing.
Right.
Okay, I think they're just concerned about that.
They just don't want it to be misconstrued or to affect them so that they, you
Well, I
know
think-
what I mean, like it.
So I think that falls onto them. I think that falls onto the organization, whatever it may be.
To come to town
To
meeting.
come to town meeting and
to-
explain.
To explain why they.
They have to put a little face time to the residents.
That's right.
Yes.
And that's what I wanna see.
And if they answer half the questions that we asked them when we met with them, certain ones,
Well,
they
that's
should be easier said than done.
right, that's easy.
So,
Is that give you guidance?
It definitely does, so I did draft up something, but I'll work on it and then I'll bring it back.
I would like to add that when we pass this, that we send a letter to all the existing ones that are getting letters to resubmit.
So they'll
Let them know.
ahead, yep. And I
That
have,
way that none of those groups can say, well, I didn't know.
right, they'll have a warning,
Yep.
you're ahead. Okay,
Good idea, Brian.
Thank you.
that's a good idea.
Are you good with that one?
Good with that.
Budget initial discussion.
So I just wanted to put this on the table to see if you guys had anything specific you wanted to see addressed in the budget. Any certain lines you wanted to see increased? I know you don't have it in front of you, but, maybe like the sheriff's contract, if you wanna make sure that we get that line up there, things like that, just kind of an initial discussion to see if you guys had
Well, I can
thoughts and
I
concerns.
can tell you that, like our insurance, theirs has gone up. Their workman's comp insurance has gone up if you ask specifically about the sheriff's department. So when people ask why their rate raised the way it did this year for the last budget, and because you're handling it for us in the town, that it's a true statement that, because ours went up the same way. So, but specific numbers at this moment, I don't know. But if I find out, I'll take it and share.
It's something that would help us when we do sit down and try to do the budget, we can, if we know that somebody's insurance, and I'm just gonna say if somebody's insurance went up 35%, we know and let's use the sheriff's department, if we're gonna keep our 30+ hours of whatever, that we know that their hourly rate is gonna go up
A percent.
a certain percentage, because, and honestly, if we could have that information, if we could have the information of, because every time we talk about the sheriff's department, for instance, in any of these budget items, when we talk about them, we're winging it, right? We're winging what the sheriff's department's gonna go up to next year.
Right.
If we had a ballpark, fairly accurate number from our outside vendors, so to speak.
Right.
Of what their budgets, what they're looking at going up next year, because let's face it, we're all doing the same thing.
Fuel,
Right.
I mean,
We're all doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing we are. They have to have budget discussion somewhere along the line. Everybody has to have it. So if we could have that in front of us when we sit down, that would help us immensely, because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. So we can say, okay, we're contracting the sheriff's department now for 30 hours, just, whatever it is, right? Maybe next year we can contract them for 35 hours because they're only going up a certain amount. Right? And we can increase the amount of hours or whatever, if we had that information in front of us, instead of just guessing at it. I hate guessing.
We kind of luck out with like the sheriff's department because of when their contract renewal is.
Right.
But like health insurance, we have no warning and it goes up January.
instead of the fiscal year.
Budgeting for the end of June or July 1, so it gets really tricky to.
I think
Right.
everybody's health insurance is going up anywhere from 25 to 30%. That's a given.
Obamacare bumped us up.
Yeah, I have the
That's a
insurance
given.
increase right now.
Well, I think it's just right. I think if we could reach out, maybe if we could reach out to some of those organizations like the sheriff's department that we do business with, if we could just get a ballpark idea of what they're thinking, and I'm sure that James has an idea, what he's thinking for, next year, because like you said, it is January, July 1. But if he has an idea, it certainly would help us, be able to budget, in our discussion.
And I'm basically what's happening right now, just so you're aware, is I'm getting the worksheets back from department heads and then I will sit with Ellen, we'll plug in numbers and then hopefully the next meeting, I don't know if we'll be ready to have a special next week. Probably not, probably just the 28th.
We're not doing a meeting next week.
Will be a lot of budget.
We're working Thursday.
I said before, like Tuesday. I was gonna do Tuesday, but
No,
I don't think I have
not
enough time. So make it the 28th. Most of the meeting will be budget discussion.
Can we not have a meeting next week, please?
No meeting next week.
Okay.
Oh, no,
The 28th.
meeting Monday, not Tuesday.
Please.
The next regular meeting, we'll do more budget stuff.
I would just like to get people's input. I want to recommend that we do some kind of trail clearing budget. Specifically the Who's It Bend Trail that we have you know, along the river down by the sewage treatment facility. Right now, Parks and Rec coordinates with, sorry, Jen, I forget the name of the group, but basically it's a group of youths that come down to help clear the trail once a year, but it's all volunteerism, and the trail, trees fall, gets overgrown, and there's only 3 of us on Parks and Recs, and it's hard, we all work full time. So I was wondering if that's something we could try to put into the lawn mowing contract, or to see if we could get whoever has that contract to at least knock it back with a weed eater, or if that's something we would have to do separately. I just want people's opinion.
Parks and Rec has
That-
5 grand in their budget line. Are you saying separate from their 5 grand?
Separate, or I'm just looking for a little guidance on how the select board would like to proceed on that. Because Parks and Rec usually has to go before the select board in order to like contract something to get approval. So before we do something like that, like what's the select board's opinion on that?
Mowing contract, the mowing contract is up this year and we're gonna be in the next couple of months putting that out to bid. And I'm really trying to trim it down because that's a really high
Well, the cemeteries eat that, a lot of that.
Yeah, that's a lot of hours doing the cemeteries.
Yeah,
And I realize that, but again, that's why I'm like, I would like select board's opinion.
even if it's once.
Or we
a year
can
or-
have that when we do the budget discussion at our next session. Just to kind of put a bug in everybody's ear.
I'm not sure how you cut them. Cemetery, the lawn mowing, the cemeteries eat so much of that.
Yeah, because you don't want
I
to
have ideas.
visit your.
I'm glad.
She's gonna mow.
I have ideas.
You and Hannah are gonna mow in your spare time? Is that what you're gonna do?
I've already got the goat farm started, so.
Yeah, we're gonna get a bunch of sheep, turn them loose. As long as somebody waters them, I'm okay with that, all right? As long as somebody makes sure they have water, I'm good with that.
That's a good idea.
I think one thing, Brian, on your trail stuff is I'd like to try to reach out to Williams College and see what they have available for their, I don't know if it's their outing club or their, I know they have some different groups down there that do trail work and trail design and trail maintenance.
Okay.
And I know that because when I was working with Donald Campbell on the land acquisition, he brought it up.
Okay.
Okay, I don't, you might be able to reach out to Donald. I don't know who the contact or even what department it is, but I know they do have some, trail stuff down there.
I don't know if the high school still has programs that would do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know the tree turf landscape management used to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what their programs entail now since they've restarted since COVID. I know a lot of programs got trimmed back.
But I think the college would be somewhere to start on your trail thing.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
No, I appreciate that.
Okay, we done with budget? We're good there? Ballot article, initial discussion.
So, speaking of cemeteries. Since we have so many, and no one to take care of them, I think we need to have a ballot article that addresses, possibly setting up a cemetery fund or repurposing the Pownell Housing Rehabilitation Revolving Loan Fund to the cemetery fund, so that we have money to budget into that fund yearly to provide perpetual care, long-term care. The cemeteries there's no one to take care of them. And without money, we cannot take care
You're
of them.
talking maintenance, upkeep, are you also talking record keeping as far as
All of it.
cemetery deed plots and all that?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know you had previously mentioned,
So we had the mappers come out, they're still working on mapping.
okay,
That's taking a long time, but our records are not that good.
I know you had mentioned about maybe encouraging the public to, if you have any deeds to cemetery plots,
Yeah.
to like come forward and provide them.
Yeah, but those, right, they're mostly recorded, hopefully. But again,
I've known a few families that have had issues where they went to go get a plot and, somebody was already occupying it.
and
Not all of us are that lucky.
I won't sell them anymore because that's what's gonna happen. We're
Yeah.
gonna double sell plots.
Right.
No, I've had a few people approach me and I've just told them, like, if you got a copy of your deed, contact Tara at the town hall and provide a copy.
And so the cemetery off of Indian Massacre is still run by Cindy Brownell. That one still has plots available. So I've been referring people to her, but, yeah, Oak Hill I'm still waiting for the mapping to see if there's any places.
So I didn't plan this, but I had been planning to bring it up during budget. Would the town be open to possibly buying another piece of property or acquiring an additional piece of property for cemetery use? Because there's a great piece of property on North Pownell Road, Church's property, up on the hill, just past the farm, headed down, that I think would be a lovely cemetery.
I think churches,
But I don't know, like, if there's any restrictions or easements or anything on it.
That's the thing, is we are gonna need more land eventually for cemeteries, and if we have no money or anything to really, we need policies in place, we are really
If
lacking.
we're gonna be in the cemetery business, we need to be set up for it.
Yes, and I reached out to the LCT, no other board can handle it, only the.
Cemetery, a
Or
cemetery.
a cemetery commission, you can't have like planning commission. Cause I was hoping maybe we could piggyback with a different board, we can't, it has to either be you guys or a cemetery commission.
I think it's time I think a ballot article, is a great idea. I think it's time that,
Let the citizens decide.
yep,
Yeah,
but let the residents and taxpayers of the town of Pownell decide what they want to do with that. And then we can move forward with that.
Okay.
And I think a ballot article, and I think it's gonna take, I don't know how you write it, but you have some ideas.
yeah, I'll be.
If you need some help with that, if you need to bounce off some ideas, I would be more than happy to be that bounce person,
Okay,
okay? And work with you. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
This is yours.
yeah, no, I
It's
can,
your ideas and you have them. But I am more than happy to work with you on this, cause cemeteries are something that have always been, something that's, it kind of strikes me pretty deep that we need to take care of them and
do, and
for
it's-
whatever reason, yeah, it's
I
always.
agree with you on that.
History.
Well, I think a lot of it is the young people just don't get it.
It's, to me, it's a respect thing for the elders of the. Yep, that just because somebody's buried under that headstone is still a respect thing to make sure that we take care of it.
Right.
right, and right now, the mower does a great job, but there's stones lying down, or there might be trees that are too big for a mower, or, there's a lot of logistics that go into managing a cemetery. Bennington has a specific
Commission.
cemetery,
But just maintaining the roadways through them.
right. So the other ballot article idea I have is for Tom, and I talked to him about it. He has currently a building fund, and you all know he really wants to pave behind his, what's it called, the tipping shed or whatever it's called. So Ellen and I talked about it, if we repurpose that fund and just sort of rename it, make his building fund a capital fund project fund instead, he could pave with it or use it for the building. So it's the same money will still be in it, we'll still be budgeting more money into it, but instead of calling it a building fund, it'll be a capital projects fund for the transfer station.
Capital project or
And
building.
he liked that idea, so.
I'm in total agreement with that.
100%.
That's just a ballot article that
Yeah, just-
have to rename the fund from, and the taxpayers have to do that. We can't do that.
Yes,
That's correct. Okay,
Yep. That
I'm good with
sounds
that.
so those were the only two that I have that I'm thinking, but if you guys have ideas, I certainly don't think we should try to make our treasurer or town clerk appointed instead of elected, because it's not gonna pass. most likely.
I think,
I don't think there's many other things that we need to address.
I don't think so. I think we're in good shape. I think we've addressed a couple of things. I think the cemeteries is a big one to address now. I think that changing that name makes total sense to me. But other than that, I think the town is in pretty good shape right now. I think I think we're in pretty good shape. I don't think we need a lot of ballot articles from the select board this year. I don't know how much.
I don't believe we have any surprises on the horizon anyways, that I know of.
No,
I don't think so.
I mean, talking to different people, so.
no, I think we're in pretty good shape. We gotta finish our land acquisition project and we're got the right steps made for that now and I think we're good. Unless somebody comes up with something and we can always add that in, that's fine.
And I'll bring the language back for the ones that I suggested on the 28th.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Hannah, any public comment?
I have to go get my computer. I have numbers.
Awesome.
I would like to just say that I wanted to thank everybody for coming for the tree lighting. We had a phenomenal turnout and it was really nice to see everybody out and about. And the tree dedication to Mr. Singleton was wonderful. I just want to thank everybody for participating.
It was a great time.
There was a lot of people.
I only had an issue with the lady who was being stingy on hot chocolate.
I was trying to make it last.
It was,
It was a really nice turnout.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
It was great. Thank you to everybody that lent a hand and helped out.
it was incredible and for everyone who came.
Yes.
It was kind of refreshing to see that many people, here. I know that part of it was probably, or I'm sure part of it was because of Mr. Singleton and what he meant to the school and all of us who, you know, he touched in one way or the other, whether he was our teacher or just whatever. But I also think that things are turning around. I know, I do have one public comment thing. I know the PTG has the,
Polar Express.
Pownell Express again this year, this Saturday night from 4:45, I think, until 7. I know they put a lot of time and effort into this again this year. I know certain bus drivers are gonna be dressed up and whatever, so, I know Michelle Weber has headed this up and it's, no, she's got a lot of tickets sold, but there again, that's a really good thing. I think our community is kind of sliding in a positive way now instead of where we've been for, you know, at one point a few years ago. So, and that's, you know, that's nothing to do with the select board, that's the school and the PTD and stuff that's doing that. And the Historical Society was an integral part of the lighting and the tree lighting and the Parks and Rec and, you know. So I think that was really good. So. Executive for personnel.
Make a motion, we enter into executive session for personnel.
Second.
Computer's about to die.
I wondered how we lost our computer operator. I have a motion on the floor in a second to enter into executive for personnel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Bear with us. Hannah's gotta plug her computer in. She's dying over there.
That sounds so bad.
Either way, it's gonna end the video feed.
Cool.
I'll entertain a motion to come out of executive.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you everyone for attending and don't forget the, Pownell Express on Saturday at the elementary school, and the Grinch will be there. Trust me.